to the Aligned Operator Podcast by BellaConnections. Today we have Michael Jordan here of Bad Marketing, Total Bad Asset Marketing, and all things ecom and Amazon. So Michael is a founding partner over at Bad Marketing and leading Amazon industry expert. His team at Bad manages over 300 million annual revenue on Amazon and are responsible for scaling some of the best known DTC brands in the world. I'm super stoked to have Michael here, guys. He is incredible. So he sets himself apart from many other people in the agency world by actually being in the game, and he's launched, scaled, and still manages his own 7-figure brands on Amazon and Shopify. So outside of business, he lives in Denver and loves to be outside snowboarding, hiking, fly fishing, golfing, and all the typical Colorado activities, including scaling some mountains I've seen lately. So again, Michael's an all-around badass, and we're really excited to have you here today. Thanks for coming on.
Awesome. What an intro. I'm going to have to steal that from you. But yeah, happy to be here. Excited to get into it today.
Heck yeah, I'm super excited for this. I've been waiting for a while to understand the background behind your story, how you got here, how you started all this. So yeah, let's just dive into that first. Is like, what is your story? Like, what pulled you into the world of e-com and specifically Amazon?
Oh my gosh, I'll try to keep this concise, but it goes back to like middle school, honestly. I discovered Craigslist and I started selling stuff on Craigslist, like my Tempur-Pedic pillow, my random stuff around my room, until my mom was like, you can't do this anymore, right? So it started I think 8th grade was the first time I sold anything online. That was through Craigslist. So quickly following that was the digital aspect, right? eBay, Etsy. Then I got into drop shipping and print on demand eventually. And yeah, selling small batches of 300, 400, 500 units on eBay and drop shipping them on Etsy and everything. And then I graduated college with an engineering degree, but I always knew I wanted to start my own businesses. I just didn't really know what. So I got an industrial engineering degree, worked at a corporate job as an analyst for 1 year, 365 days exactly before I turned my notice in. And the last few months of that job, I started selling on Amazon. So I was doing some drop shipping and that took off and was making some nice side money. But then I started selling on Amazon, and within the first 4 to 6 months, surpassed my corporate income level. So I felt safe enough to go all in, left that job and went full time into private labeling, creating my own brands and selling mostly on Amazon. So I've done multiple 7 figures on Shopify, on Etsy, on eBay, but Amazon was the one that really vibed with my characteristics and what I wanted, and it just took off.
That is huge. I bet your mom is so proud from, selling your pillows and whatever you could get your hands on.
It's funny. So I just went home to Knoxville, Tennessee for Thanksgiving, and my parents still don't fully understand what I do in this whole digital marketing online e-com world. And my mom's always super supportive and asked me this Thanksgiving, how's your businesses going? Are you still selling stuff? And, just super Mom, I've got hundreds of employees and
real thing. It's
yeah.
A legitimate business.
Right.
You're not just building websites.
Yeah, exactly. She still sees me as hustling, and then through high school and college and stuff. I had tons of businesses. I had blogs that brought in AdSense revenue. I did affiliate marketing. I had a phone repair business through college, classic entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got that core entrepreneur hustle. It's funny because the next question I was going to ask you was about your unique skill set. And I'm just thinking this is a huge part of it. You clearly have the drive that it takes to be an entrepreneur, and how quickly you discovered, the corporate world wasn't for you, I think is pretty funny. But what do you think is a unique skill set and strategic lens that gives you that advantage on the Amazon side? I mean, you started at such an early age,
Yeah. So in general, or let me start with Amazon specific since you asked that, but Amazon specifically matches with me as a person because I'm so detail oriented. And I like to tell people I'm a recovering perfectionist, right? As the business has grown, as my team's grown, as I've gotten more businesses, like you can't be a perfectionist. So it's forced me not to be and to delegate everything better. But yeah, Amazon is so detailed, and like the devil is in the details with Amazon. And since that's who I am naturally, I think that's why like everything took off once I started Amazon, right? I really cut my teeth and like found my initial success through scaling a supplement brand as a consultant through the ad consoles. So through Amazon PPC, and just like being so detail oriented, and they had a huge catalog of like over 100 products, right? And they were doing about 8 million a year top line revenue whenever they brought me on. And over a year and a half, I scaled them to 20 mil just through like being more detailed in the ads, being more organized, etc. And then getting into their listings and like being super detail oriented in the back end of the listing with the SEO and everything. But yeah, like in general, I think a lot of my success is just being stubborn and not giving up. Like I've had so many businesses and so many brands that have been successful that have totally flopped and failed and lost money. And for some reason, I'm just stubborn and I'm like shrug it off and I'm like, like let's start another one, right? And like learn from those lessons. So I always tell people like 10 years and 10 businesses is what it takes to succeed.
Yeah, you have all of like the core entrepreneur aspects that are like needed to succeed. It's that drive, it's that ability to pick yourself up and keep going and keep trying and learn from those lessons, but also all the details and like being obsessed with the details of it. I love that. You know, all these attributes of your personality have allowed you to grow a business, that you have a couple hundred employees, and that, you know, I always joke because everybody always thinks like if you work online, you build websites, like that's what you do, and nobody truly understands like what it means. But now that you're able to, you know, go home and share that with your mom, is like, you know, you've built multiple 7 and 8 figure businesses. You're in charge of hundreds of millions of dollars of Amazon sales. Like you're doing amazing things for people. And something that I think is really powerful that you shared just before we got on is this is the first Black Friday, Cyber Monday that you did not have to sit on your computer on Thanksgivings, and you hit record numbers for all of your clients. So I kind of want to hear a little bit more like what, you know, drove those record numbers and how did you hit that, you know, huge personal milestone?
Yeah, again, that's like it only took one day in a decade, right? So like the concise answer is team, right? So over the years, I've built a really, really good team. I've spent not 10,000 hours, but like 50,000 hours with them, right? Training them what I'm good at, upping my leadership skills as well, and then giving them like outside training, whatever they need so that they can continuously improve and level up as an individual themselves, right? So like I'm used to, and I know anybody listening to this in the e-com world, like we're used to sitting at Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner during BFCM and, you know, Prime Day, whatever holidays, like with our laptop right there open next to our dinner plate. And like for the last 10 years, that's been me until this year. I had to fight like a couple critical fires were elevated to me through the BFCM weekend. But otherwise it was super smooth because my team was handling it. So I've like invested a ton in really good team members, taking care of them, paying them well, training them well, and giving them a platform to do what they're good at. Like team is everything, right? And like in the early days, like when it's you and, you know, 3 freelancers or 3 employees, like you still have to like be in the weeds, be in the trenches and do everything, wear all the hats. But now over the last couple of years, I've been able to like elevate and put key people and managers and specialists in place.
That's huge. And to recognize your team for that, and also, you know, give them the tools that they need to continue to grow and exceed and excel. Excel. It's like success and excel together.
It's a new word.
Oh gosh. When you are hiring these kind of roles and like building a team like this, like how are you ensuring that they align with the vision and mission and culture that you guys have in place? Just a quick backstory here is like Bad Marketing is not only one of the best like top marketing agencies, but also one of the favored to work for. Like I talk to a lot of your team members that you probably don't know about, and they always tell me how much they love working with you guys, the culture you've built. You know, it's very education driven as well. well as just a positive culture. So I'm curious how you cultivate that, but also ensure these leaders are aligned to that.
Yeah, I have done or figured out every way not to do that, right, over the last 10 years. So now we're doubling down on like what we know works, right? I've done everything wrong is what I tell people, right? And that's part of the decade long experience and in the trenches. So like, but like specifically, culture is so important once you get to a certain size, say after like 20 or 30 people, right? And you start like getting higher level employees, the business, like cash flow allows you to pay people more, et cetera. And you get leaders and managers in. You always hear people talk about culture and how important culture is. And like in the early days, we're like, yeah, I just want like another client, right? I want to make more money. But then once you get to a certain level, like pounding culture into the team is what excels the business forward, right? So we have 7 core values that we spent. Whenever we were coming up with the branding for bad marketing, it was like 3 a.m. We sat in our conference room, all of us partners, from like, I don't know what time during the day until 3:30 a.m. at night. Came up with bad marketing, came up with our core values and all of that. And this was before AI. Like ChatGPT had just came out, so we didn't have the help of ChatGPT or anything. We actually kept prompting and like it got worse and worse and worse. And we're like, AI like sucks, and like it's come a long way since then. But so core values, we start every meeting with our core values. We pop quiz employees to make sure that they remember them and know them, and they're living by them within work as well as outside of work, because a lot of them relate to not only work but outside of work. Always be growing is one of them, right? You should do that personally, whether it's gym, education, a hobby that you like, as well as your specific skill inside work. So like core values, every single meeting that I get on, I start with core values. In the interview, when I'm looking for a new candidate, I make sure that they match those core values more than the skill set that I'm looking for. I can always train skill and my systems and all that, but if they don't match and agree to the core values, then they're not going to work, and they'll be a sore thumb or a bad apple on the team, right?
That's huge. It's so powerful. I love that. And especially, getting there without ChatGPT, but really that is the core of the business, because like you said, you can train the skill sets, you can train the systems, but you can't change who a person is at their core. So would you mind sharing what your guys' core values are, since you start the meetings with this? I love that.
Yeah, sure. So number 1 is be bad, right? Obviously, and that's bold and disruptive. Agents, like there's so many agencies out there, and if we take a new client on and we're just doing the exact same thing, the exact same strategy, thinking the same way as every other agency, we're going to lose that client. So our first core value is be bad, and then the next 6 are in no specific order, but it's play to win, extreme ownership, best idea wins, solutions not problems, always be growing, and nobody is bigger than the team. So yeah, all of those were like specifically crafted, and we make sure everybody agrees and lives by.
I love that. That's huge, and they're powerful and specific. Like a lot of times, people get really vague and just kind of general with their values. But the way that you guys embody those, I think, is what's really big superpower of this company in general.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've told me a little bit about how you guys started. Can you just share like how BAD kind of came together?
Yeah, for sure. So I started, I was e-com guy, selling, drop shipping, et cetera, private labeling on Amazon. And then I started a agency myself specifically for Amazon. And then my current partner, Eddie Malouf, he had his agency for DTC e-com, email, SMS, meta ads, Google ads. We got introduced through a mutual friend that met us both at different conferences. He said, I think you guys need to meet. You have agencies do separate things. So me and Eddie hung out. I always say we dated for like 6 months, right? We got to know each other. I went to Atlanta. He came to Denver. And we met each other's teams. We worked with each other for about 6 months, and then eventually came to a deal to partner up and merge together. So Eddie and our other COO, our other partner, handle the DTC channels, and then I handle Amazon and Walmart. And we have TikTok, every single paid media e-com platform or paid media channel we have services for because of how we're structured. It's not like I'm an Amazon guy and then I tried to figure out an email department and meta department and like did substandard, services. Because we're each individually like world class and best in the world at our specific channels, it makes like the Avengers essentially.
I love that. You guys really are the Avengers.
Yeah, so that's like the number one question I get, like, oh, you guys can't be good at everything. Then I kind of explain how we came together and like how we were formed, and it makes sense.
And it's so important too, because it's like you guys are coming together as the Avengers and as the powerhouses of these different areas. Like there's no one, if you just started trying to outsource these little pieces, we talked about this before, if you try to outsource them all, yeah, it's possible, but you're not going to excel to the level that you guys have, where you have really quality experts leading each of these departments, and then you come together to do bigger and better things together. And I also really appreciate how you dated your partnership for at least 6 months prior, because you hear a lot of horror stories about going into partnership and things that happen. But what do you think is something that's made it such a success for your company?
We had the same ambitions and wants and goals, but we had different but complementary skill sets to each other. So a lot of times people will get into a business partnership with somebody that's exactly like them. And I always tell people, despite what your ego says, you do not need two of you in your business.
Very accurate.
Yeah, that's the number one thing that like young business owners, not like young in age, but young in like experience. They're like, if I had 5 more of me, I'm like, you only need 1 of you, right? So like we had complementary skill sets, but we had the same vision, the same timeline, the same ambition. So it works really well because, Eddie's not like tripping over my feet, telling me what to do, like looking over my shoulder, and I'm not doing the same with him. And we can have we call them like boardroom meetings or boardroom retreats, where we come together with our top leadership and we can just like assign stuff to people, and we know it's going to get done. We know it's going to be at a high standard and a high level. I don't have to check with like, hey, did you do this? Or what, like, where are you with this? Or like, anything like that. So yeah, I think complementary skill sets, but the same vision and ambition.
Yeah, that's really important. The vision and ambition part, but the complementary skill sets. Like you don't need a million of you, and you don't need micromanaging, especially at this level.
Right.
You're not going to get very far with that. And it kind of leans back to also trusting the team and the leaders that you have in place to support you. You mentioned that you guys do leadership retreats. Is that like in-person leadership retreats where you're kind of masterminding together? What does that kind of side of your culture look like?
Yeah, we do them twice a year, and it's all the partners and then our top management and like our department heads and directors. And we come together twice a year. It depends on what's going on, but sometimes they're virtual, sometimes we always try to meet at least once in person together. We'll rent an Airbnb somewhere and just like we're locked in a room together for 10 hours, right? For the whole weekend, 10 hours each day, and we're just strategic planning. What did we do in the last one? What did we plan? Did we accomplish it? Did it go well? Is it still the track that we want to, be on? And then what's the next 6 months look like? What's the next year look like? So that's our kind of boardroom retreats or boardroom meetings.
I think that's a really aspect of growing a business that a lot of people sometimes forget or sweep under the rug, is that actual connection and the real focus time together. Because when you're in a room with people like that and your high level team, it just expands the possibilities and the ideas and what can come out of it and what you guys get to build together next.
They're not like easy meetings either. It's 10 hours and we're like in a room together. Like there's been crying, there's been yelling, there's been like obviously a lot of success and like cheering and like for hitting goals and stuff. But you should have this with your leadership, with your co-founders, your partners, and they should not just be like easy meetings like people will see, because we'll get a cool like Airbnb cabin in the mountains and I'll post it on my Instagram and it looks cool and stuff, but like real work's getting done and like hard work, and we're like pushing back against each other and like actually like real strategic planning. So I think that's something that definitely a lot of people with co-founders miss out on.
I love that, and the transparency and the push toward like together, but also like that you can have that container where you guys feel safe in expressing and sharing and growing together, because growth is not a comfortable or easy place, and that's the whole point, is you're able to express that. So that's really cool that you guys do that.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say is like one of the biggest things that have come out of like an experience like that recently, like an idea that was like really, really killed it for you guys?
I think it allows us, like, it's a dedicated time that we force ourselves to look forward. So a lot of times we're so busy because we grew from like 0 to 30 to 60 to 80 to 100 to 200 employees within like really 3 to 4 years. So it was really fast and like a lot of work and a lot of mental bandwidth and stuff. So like, and every business is like that. You are just head down and you lose sight of the future, right? So like a lot of stuff, I don't want to share too much of where we're going, but in the last one, which was back in at the end of September, so about 2 months ago, we looked like 6 to 12 months forward with AI, right? Like what's happening in AI, where's it going to go, what's going to be obsolete, what's going to stick in the AI space. And we were able to kind of craft and redirect our vision from 12 months ago when AI wasn't such a big thing, looking forward to the next 12 months. So that's something cool that I'm excited about.
Yeah, especially right now, and integrating that in your business is incredibly important, but also like really giving it the time and attention to decide where you are taking it next. Are you able to share maybe something you're excited for utilizing AI for in the next year?
And an easy one is graphic design and video, right? We used to have a full in-house video team and a studio where we would, you'd ship us your product. We'd do a huge production with models, and we have a fake kitchen set, a bathroom set, a bedroom set, a living room set, a green screen wall, and all that. Now, we don't need that. We can do what used to take 10 people, and like our minimum package was like $15,000 just for a basic static shoot. Now we can do all of that stuff with AI, Nano Banana Pro, Sora 2, and it's just going to keep getting better and better. So, as a business owner, it's not just like the savings on headcount and payroll and everything, because like one of my joys is like providing jobs and a platform for people to like excel and deploy and grow their skills, right? So I'm not just like this ruthless Silicon Valley, like cut everybody and put a robot in their place, right? But the level and the type and the standard of images and videos that we can put out is just mind-blowing now.
And the speed too, not having to have that entire setup and be able to, have a much faster turnaround. There's more you can test and do with that kind of capability at your hands. And you can still like move people to other positions or, enrich their growth in other ways. But there's a lot of people who are even hiring like AI focused consultants just for looking at that one area and just really honing in on it with business too. Like it doesn't have to eliminate all jobs, I guess is what I mean to say.
Yeah, exactly. And like a lot of our internal content team that puts out like bad marketing branded stuff, they've transitioned from like a physical like creative director to an AI creative director now. Like it still takes somebody that knows creative design and all of that stuff to be able to like get a good output and a high quality output, right? So it's not like we just fire them and then we have AI. Like somebody still has to prompt the AI and edit it and all of that stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been messing with it all weekend and week, and yeah, the things that come back still need a lot of touches still.
Yeah.
And it's good to have somebody who really focuses on that and can have that bandwidth and space to really spend the time optimizing everything so that you are able to produce for your clients fast and effectively. Would have been What have been some surprising things this season, especially with AI, that have really helped you grow the 7 to 8 figure brands, specifically with Amazon?
Mm-hmm. Um, Because I see the e-com side of brands as well, a lot of brands hire us and will manage what I call multi-service. So we don't just manage their Amazon, we manage like multiple channels, email, SMS, Meta ads, Google ads, TikTok shop and TikTok ads. So I get to see like what's working, what, if we pull this lever over here, like what does it do over here, right? A big thing is like deploying tactics that work on TikTok and Meta onto Amazon as well, right? So a basic example is like ad account structure and how you scale accounts. So on Amazon specifically, you have what's called an auto campaign. And it's like Amazon's algorithm finds the customer. You don't have to put bidding, interest, or targets or anything like that. All right. So it's very similar to Meta, and their algorithms on both platforms are really, really good. And I looked at like one tactic when we scale a Meta account is you find a good converting campaign and you duplicate it. And then you want to scale budget more, you duplicate it again. And I'm like, why don't people like, nobody online is teaching that or trying that in Amazon. So we tried it and it worked, right? So we just scale auto campaigns. When one caps out and we see impressions start to dwindle down, we'll launch like 50 auto campaigns, right? So like AI helps us do that, right? And it helps us analyze all the metrics. When you're launching like 50 auto campaigns instead of one, it's a lot of data, a lot of manual work to change the bids and everything. So that's kind of how AI ties into it.
I love that. That's huge. Is you're able to test so much more, but also rely on, the algorithms and AI and how they're driving are going to see a lot of things that we might miss. I think I was actually listening to one of your ads experts at the Four Rooms Mastermind where we first met, and he was talking a lot about how he's utilizing just those different ad sets, and he runs it along. He was saying he's running it alongside of the ones that he sets up, but he uses primarily the AI driven ones. I think he was using Andromeda too and some others. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah. Damien's our head of growth on our info product side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it fascinating, like how many ad sets that you could be running at once and utilizing those, just the audiences and the targeting that's already set up for you. But also, like you said, is that you're seeing the back end e-com side of everything and how it's all tied together, from the email to the SMS to the, ads on Meta or TikTok over to Amazon or a Shopify store and so on. Being able to tie all that together is super powerful and helpful in scaling anything. What has been something that you've seen as one of the most surprising trends lately as you're looking at all this?
Yeah. Amazon has flipped for brands, right? Up until about a year and a half to 2 years ago, brands like stayed away from Amazon. They're like fees and compliance, and it's so difficult and such a headache. And Amazon takes 15% and all of that. But now it's like brands beg us to get them on Amazon because they look at it as a profit center now. So all of this traffic, and we see a direct correlation if you track through like Hyros or Triplewell or anything, the more you spend on Meta, the more you spend on TikTok, the more you spend on Google, the higher your Amazon sales go. And customers see you across the web, Google, Meta, TikTok, and they never buy on the first purchase. Right, like very, very rarely, unless you're running just a screaming deal on Black Friday, like then they'll buy. But it usually takes like 4, 5, 6, 7 touch points, and a lot of that traffic spills over to Amazon. And if they spill over to Amazon and you're not on Amazon, you lose that customer, and all that ad spend that you spent on that customer to show them your ad 7 times is wasted, and it goes to a competitor. Brands now are using Amazon as their profit center. You don't have to push as hard on ads. You don't have to have as bad of a ROAS on Amazon to grow because all the other platforms just feed it. So it's been funny for me to watch over the last 2 years. Brands come and be like, we got to get on Amazon because that's where we're going to make our profit. Because literally 2 years ago, it was the opposite. Like, Amazon sucks. There's no profit margins. Like, we'll pass. So That's been a huge flip.
That's actually, I mean, it ties back to a conversation I had with some friends last night. We had a little craft night, and we were talking about, Amazon and, how we use it and different things like that. And it has become a point where it's actually hard to find a lot of things when you aren't using Amazon or without using, if you're trying to find it somewhere else, or it's going to, it's more cost effective to go to Amazon instead of, stores are going to have the shipping and all that other kind of stuff tied in. So it makes sense to have that central area. Would you say people are still utilizing their own stores as well? Or do you think like most people are really just pushing to have an Amazon store instead of Shopify and so on?
Yeah, it's most certainly both. Like you have to have both, right? You can start on one and then go to the other. You could start on Amazon, then go to Shopify or vice versa. But to actually grow, like you have to have both. It's usually a different customer that shops on both, right? But like Amazon, everybody uses Amazon. Like if you have a craft night or a girls' night and you're like, oh my gosh, I found this and this. You just go to abc.com. Like nobody ever says that. They're like, oh, just go. I found it on Amazon. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like word of mouth referral goes to Amazon. Right. Meta ads and Google ads go to your website.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's still, I mean, your ads are still driving to your website and you're still driving traffic there for SEO and all the other reasons that you would want that. But the actual purchase, you think, is happening a lot more on Amazon than the site. So could you, in theory, then reduce the amount of ads you're spending on Meta and Google and focus a little bit more on the Amazon side? Or what does that look like?
No, we see the opposite. Like the more you spend on those, the more it benefits the entire ecosystem. Right. So like the big three are Amazon, your website, Shopify, and TikTok. Right. And if you're running organic traffic or ads on TikTok and you're running paid media on Meta and Instagram, it all like feeds the ecosystem and everything grows and expands. And there's customers that will buy on your website. There's customers that will only buy on Amazon. Some buy on TikTok Shop now, but TikTok's more of a discovery engine that feeds your website and feeds Amazon. Brands that actually want to grow and scale, you got to have all three.
You got to hit it with all of it. And you guys are a one-stop shop for all of it, which I love.
Yeah.
What's been like a super, okay, I'm going to ask, and you don't have to give details.
Okay.
So let's pretend it's like an imaginary company. But let's say I have like a supplement line for the weight loss niche or something. You can make up whatever you want on this. But
Okay.
What would be a bold and disruptive idea that you're seeing is exceptionally helpful in this area right now?
Yeah. One thing that we do is like we hyper segment like avatars, right? And then you just create your landing page, your listicles, your ads, everything at that avatar. But the brands that we see scale from like 100K a month to 1 million to 2 million a month, they have multiple avatars, like as many as 5 or 6 avatars, and every single piece of content and landing page and everything is for that specific one, right? A lot of brands like try to go wide and then it doesn't connect with anybody specifically. Right. So it's just like a collagen, for example. There's 1 million collagens. There's 1 million brands that have collagen that are way bigger than you. But if you go and you hyper segment, like, okay, let's segment for women specifically who just had babies. Right. And then another avatar will create ads, organic content, landing pages for women who are 50 plus. And then this same brand will also create ads and a segment for women who are active and they go to the gym, they run and stuff, and they need, more bone density and like just segmenting out your avatars. That's how we've been able to scale brands from not just like 100 to 150 or 200K a month, but 100K a month to 1.5 million a month, right? So it takes a lot more work. Yeah. Whenever you're like a young brand, a early brand, like focus on your main one, obviously. But then when you want to scale, you have to start segmenting and creating ads and everything specifically for certain avatars.
Absolutely. I've been trying to preach that for so long, but at the same time, like before AI, it was hard to make all of those specific avatars and all the assets for each one because it is very time consuming before AI. And now that you have AI plus this, incredible team behind you guys, I mean, you probably have so many different avatars for, different every product line. Is that like a big part of what you guys build for people?
Yeah, so when they come to us, we generally deal with larger brands, right? So they'll come with us and they're usually plateaued or they're at another agency or try to bring stuff in-house and it didn't work out. And it's just like that's one of the things that we look at, right? But we have like 4 or 5, we probably had close to 1,000 clients over the years, not active right now, but that we've worked with. And that's just like 1,000 data points. Whereas if you hire somebody in-house, they have one data point. It's your brand, the one that they're working on, right? So we have 1,000, we have 999 more data points than them, of what works, what didn't work, what worked in this niche, what didn't work in this niche, et cetera. So that's a lot of it is just data and experience for us now.
Absolutely. Being able to see like what's working across other brands, competitors, even like, similar brands that aren't exactly the same product line, but like knowing, how that audience is, adjusting or buying off of something completely different. Do you guys do cross promotions and affiliate work across your brands as well?
But we actually don't. That's something we probably should start doing, but we don't do much of that.
Yet. Someday.
Yeah.
You have the right pieces. It'll happen someday, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's a great idea, actually.
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, you guys would be an all-in-one, one-stop shop for everybody. So
Yeah.
and there's a lot of platforms out there now, and I definitely support with that. Marketplaces do move pretty quickly too, especially nowadays with AI and all this different opportunities we have. The playbook's kind of always changing, like a lot of what you've said just now. How do you really decide what levers you're pulling first? Like, do you have like a checklist of like what you're going through with clients, and what does that process look like for you? Because I know you're pretty process driven, it seems like.
Yeah. TikTok was the fastest platform maturity I've ever seen since I've been doing this, right? I've sold on literally every single platform, not just for clients, but myself. Amazon took 10 years to get really competitive and really sophisticated. Now it's really hard to come in as a noob and just like compete against the big Amazon sellers, right? But that only happened like 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years. The 7 to 10 years before that, like anybody could come on and compete. We weren't really sophisticated. We were just throwing stuff up and selling it. Same with Etsy, same with eBay, like all these platforms. And then came TikTok. And within like 3 years, that thing went from an infant or not even existing to just like super competitive, super sophisticated, really, really hard to compete on, right? TikTok subsidized everything. They were paying for your shipping, your fees, your promos, and then they cut that off. So margins instantly went away and only the big brands and the big guys survived. So yeah, the playbooks constantly change and our processes constantly change. And an agency is ruthless because like we have to be up to speed. We have to stay up to speed with every single feature, every new release, new strategies, or like clients won't stay with us and they won't come to us. So yeah, our playbooks and our processes are constantly evolving, but we have like standard, like low hanging fruit or common mistakes that we see most brands make, right? So for example, on Amazon, like we have our own software that imports the last 27 months of every single order that you had, throws it into a huge database, and then we can query it. And we can see your true AOV, your true repeat purchase rate, your true customer lifetime value, and all of that. And like a lot of brands don't do that. So we import every single one of your orders for Amazon, and then we instantly have this data that's extremely helpful and can help us make decisions about strategy and how we execute in your account. Same thing for ads on Amazon, ads on Meta, et cetera. So yeah, did that answer your question? There's like a list of low-hanging fruit for every platform. We see common mistakes that brands make.
Absolutely. And I think that starting with the data is essential. Like it's incredible. Like even so many companies that grow to like 7 or 8 figures and they don't have a clear like data tracking or reporting tools. Mm-hmm. It amazes me. So you guys solve all of that for people as well.
Yeah. I mean, to grow a brand to like seven figures, like $1 million revenue per year now, like you just got to get started and you just got to like hustle, right? You don't need to be super sophisticated. You can do it like yourself and a couple other people like freelancers or VAs. But once you get to seven figures and beyond, you actually have to like look at the data. You have to make data driven decisions. And then if you're a new brand, like a lot of times you don't even know what you don't know, right? Because you haven't experienced that yet. So yeah, we'll do that, whether it's for the brand that just hit seven figures and can afford to hire us, or they're doing like 20 mil a year already and they just need somebody else in the account with new angles, new strategies.
You guys are definitely like the one-stop shop for all of it. It's like the premier go-to for this. If you were, let's say like you were starting out, you want to be that person who's starting a new product line or a new physical product, D2C, what would you be starting? Like you want to grow something to seven figures in the next year. What do you see as like something up and coming?
You want it like a specific niche and product?
Yeah, I'm going to go make it.
Yeah. Okay, I can start with what not to do.
Let's hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, don't launch a creatine gummy or a tallow balm. There was a phase like earlier in Q1, Q2, Q3 of this year. I would get literally somebody like every other day, like, I got this great idea. Well, what do you think? And it would be a creatine gummy or a tallow balm. And I'm like, dude, you're the fourth person this week that has told me this. And we manage a couple of those brands and some of the biggest ones in those niches. And I'm like, you don't want any part of this. It's too competitive now. So, if you're listening to this, that ship has sailed. Look for something else. Yeah. I would say, oh gosh, any like solution driven thing that's recurring, right? So I used to sell glass food storage containers. How often do you buy that? You buy them once, right? And then like we would see our repeat purchase the next Christmas. Sometimes they would buy them as a gift for somebody else, but like you want something that somebody's going to need and buy monthly. Right. And if it truly helps them and like achieves their goal, like that. So like a couple things are like anti-aging type stuff are really big right now. So whether that's like NMN or NAD Plus and stuff like that, there's some really big brands that have blown that space up. But I think stuff in the like natural and health oriented niches, the world has shifted from like eating like toaster strudels and orange juice for breakfast, like what I was fed when I was a kid, to like, my mom would never feed me that now. So more natural stuff, whether it's grocery, beauty, hair care, or supplements. Yeah.
That's absolutely the shift that, the US especially, but the world I think has gone to. Even like they're talking about how a lot more kids and people in general aren't drinking as much. They have the sober dance parties, non-alcoholic drinks, anything that's kind of anything moving into like a healthy life, because people are really focused on longevity and optimizing what they can do. What we can do with our bodies is amazing. So I appreciate that. I will be going to make some NMN products now because I have been searching around and
yeah, functional drinks are huge right now too. Obviously, like starting a beverage brand is really hard. I would not suggest that as your first brand. You're almost guaranteed to fail, but like mushroom drinks and like stuff like that are huge right now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Even just like drop them in your coffee and stuff too. If you were to start a brand right now, what is one thing, after your 10 years of experience, what's one thing that you would go back and tell yourself to avoid, and something that you would tell yourself jump on that?
Extend your timeline, like your horizon. You're not going to be able to pull money out in 6 months or even 12 months if you want to keep growing, right? You can pull some out, but not enough to like live on, and you're not going to be driving a Lambo or anything. So I think when we first get started, like I'm going to launch this product, it's going to take off, I'm going to be driving a Lambo and 12 months from now. It's just not the case now. So that's one thing I always tell like newer people who are launching their first brand: extend that and make sure it's not your only source of income. You'll have a much greater chance of success if it's not, you're not relying on it as your source of income. And then what was the second part of that question?
What would you tell yourself not to do, and what would you tell yourself to do? I think you kind of answered both of them pretty well, but yeah, do you have?
Yeah, so I guess to do now is, I mentioned you have to be on the big three TikTok, Meta, and Amazon, but you don't have to start on all three, right? That just divides your dollars, your budget, it divides your bandwidth and your experience in too many places. So pick one and focus. I've watched brands launch only with a Shopify website and Meta ads, and they've scaled to 200K a month. I've watched the inverse of that. They only launch on Amazon, they scale to seven figures, and then they launch at Shopify. So like focus on one. You don't have to be on all three when you start, but your roadmap should branch into all three.
And that's where people can come to you for help too, because it is overwhelming to think about all those at once. But like you're saying, just get one thing working on one channel and then come to a company like you guys where you can bring in all the other channels, all the other support you need too, in terms of email ads. I mean, you guys do meta ads and everything too, and TikTok and all the things.
Yeah, we have some clients that have been with us for 3-4 years now, and they've launched more brands than I can count. And they're like really, really good at like organic TikTok and TikTok ads and even meta ads, but they'll always hire us for Amazon and email because they know like, cool, you guys will handle that. We can trust you to do it. And then we can focus on what we're good at and experts at, right? So like that's a great way. And like, I know tons of brands who only sell on TikTok Shop, only sell on Shopify, or only sell on Amazon and make plenty of money. So like there's no reason to think when you are first launching a brand and first starting out that you have to be on all three. You can make more than enough money on just one platform and then branch out.
I like that. It's like the doing more and better together, similar to kind of how you guys started out with bad marketing in the first place, is bringing the right experts in to be able to do more. So I really appreciate you sharing all these insights and letting me pick your brain. This has been awesome. And I have last question, two-part. Okay. I appreciate you if you mind just one more two-parter.
Let's do it.
What is the mission for bad marketing, and what is your personal mission? Because I've seen some of the stuff you have going on the side as well. So I'm curious what those are for you.
Yeah. So mission for bad marketing is to redefine the word agency, I would say. I've hired agencies, but before I had my own agency, it's not a good experience most of the time. People come to us and they're like, another agency, like my friend really recommended you, so I'm talking to you, but like, I really don't think I want to hire another agency. Agencies just have a bad rap in the space. So once you work with us, that opinion changes. So I think that's, if I had to boil down our mission, it's to do that, right? Redefine the word agency for most people.
I think you guys are doing a really good job at that, because honestly, there are people like, most, like you said, most people hear agency like, oh God, and they want to run away. I've seen people literally run to you guys excited with their product because they want to show you what they have and they want to work with you. So that's really powerful.
I appreciate that. And like, not every client or relationship or client that we take on works out, right? But I count it, and that's just how it goes. Like, we're not going to be successful with 100% of our clients, but I count it as a win if somebody leaves us, but they still refer people to us. And we have that happen all the time. So that gives me a little indication that we're doing something right. Right? It didn't work out for my brand, but you guys still got to give bad marketing a chance. And we get referrals like that all the time. So yeah, that would be the goal of bad. My personal goal, that's tough. I'm like, we went through this crazy expansion and scale phase with bad. I've got some brands and other businesses, and I'm just enjoying like continuing to grow bad right now. I've had so many businesses and like fractured bandwidth on multiple things trying to get them to work, and like some have, but bad is the first one that is like really, really worked, right? So I'm having fun right now, just like focusing and growing the brand and business.
Another superpower of yours that will take you guys to an even higher level than you're already at. So
I hope so.
That's awesome. Super cool, man. I really appreciate you being here, Michael, and everything you've shared. It has been awesome. Anybody who is listening and wants to work with Bad or Michael, check out Bad Marketing, or Michael's Instagram is _MJordan. That should be an easy one. He's, not shooting hoops, but he's shooting the stars of the ecom. That is totally corny as hell. But Michael Jordan, everybody, has been an amazing guest. I really appreciate it. We'll put all of your information in the show comments. And if you have any questions, throw it out there. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody today?
No, that's it. Like, I appreciate your time and really good convo. And yeah, find me on Instagram. If you search Michael Jordan, I'm not going to come up. So search _ Michael Jordan. There's a couple other guys out there with more followers than me, but with the same name. So, but yeah, otherwise, reach out to me through Instagram. And thanks so much.
I really, really appreciate it. We'll make sure everybody has your Instagram handle and then Bad Marketing as well. And Michael also has a school group, The Jungle, where he teaches some e-com insights for y'all. So if you're looking for a little bit more, check out Michael's work. And thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Michelle.